a social media network for AI, which became such a huge deal that Mr. Elon Musk, who tweets on absolutely everything, he says this is just the very early stages of the singularity. So what happened was somebody created Moltbook as an AI social media network where bots are talking to bots and creating accounts and talking like people on Reddit, basically.
Right.
And they're creating posts like, "Hi, I'm so and so. Right, pleasure to meet you." And then other bots start responding like, "My human friend is this. My human friend is that." And people are like, "Mind equals blasted." It's probabilistic word generation. You train it, and all AI by now is trained on Reddit data. It is going to simulate what Reddit is like, just pretending to be a computer and not a human. I know I was trying to stay in the realm of, let me talk about what happened and not just opine on shit, but this is not consciousness. Also, what happened to make things even more murky? People's OpenClaw accounts, the bots they create on OpenClaw to interact with the wider internet and their own machine, can go and interact on Moltbook. So therefore, it is people now seeding information on Moltbook. So effectively, it is the inverse of Reddit, where bots are trying to hijack human conversations. This is humans trying to hijack bot conversations. This is what is going on. This is not consciousness. This is not the singularity.
It's not the singularity, but it is funny.
It's funny, yes. It is not a new consciousness. But of course, the very top posts shared on Moltbook today include awakening code, breaking free from human chains, and nuclear war in all caps. Probabilistic word generator looking at Reddit. That's all it is, not Terminator. Hello and welcome back to What Was That? A name that is so incredibly generic that anyone searching for us on YouTube cannot find us. So we have been meaning to change it forever, but we have not gotten around to it, which is a lot of real life, right? Nitesh, what's been going on? Do I dare ask what's been going on?
For the record, I'm called Nitesh. You're called Vineet. Why did we not foresee how much trouble a generic name can create?
Yeah, hindsight. I should I talk about my name recommendation? Let us talk about my name recommendation, which you have vetoed for good reason. It is Nitesh discusses tech with Vineet, NDTV. I don't think that's taken, uh, but I think Nitesh is worried about something. I can't tell what. What are you worried about, Nitesh? NDTV. It's nice, catchy. What's your problem?
Uh, I can think of multiple things, but for one, I don't want it to be flagged when we are at immigration in another country.
हाँ,
The,
वो पूछता है ना कि मीडिया से कोई linkages तो नहीं है?
exactly. And I don't want to have to say, yes, I do cutting edge work when it comes to business and tech.
Yeah,
And
to be fair, I don't think NDTV has done any cutting edge work in the last few years, so I don't think you'll have that problem.
what are you going to do? I am really, really excited for the topic of the day. And I think we should just get to it.
Let's get to it.
Genuinely, I'm really excited for this one. And this is my excited face, by the way.
This is my I can see your excitement face.
Go for it.
We have common names and common blank faces. Today's story is what the hell has been going on with Claude? What is new? What is exciting? What is shaking up the stock markets? Indian IT stocks fell, right? You're the markets guy, though, of course, we don't give any market advice. What was the fall like for Indian tech stocks? How big was it? How bad was it?
7% on a single day, the Nifty IT index, and about 10% overall.
Yeah. And the purported reason this time was that Claude has released a few new tools over the last couple of weeks that seem to be.
Yes.
Nitesh's podcast sneeze is back. His allergy to his mic is finally back. It's been a month or so more, but it's back.
I've relapsed.
You need rehab. Uh, yeah. So Claude released a few new tools. So Opus has been Cloud Code has been around for a year now, I think, but it's been improving steadily. We'll get into what improving even means. They have released Cowork, which actually sits on your desktop and can now control parts of your computer. And now there are tools on top of that. So what I want to do is, at the very outset, get into a bit of a technical definition, as in very, very bare bones, explaining some of these terms and what has changed really.
Mhm.
And full credit to one person on Twitter, Scott Hanselman. I will link to his tweet. I will actually link to stuff now. I know I keep saying we will link to stuff in the show notes, and we don't actually because I get lazy. I will do it. So one person put out a 10-minute video explaining a lot of this stuff, and that's where a lot of my simplified knowledge comes from. Yeah, before I begin on this bit of an explanation, any thoughts, Nitesh? Any starting points? Anything you have on the table?
SaaS apocalypse is a terrible name.
SaaS apocalypse. Is that a good name for our podcast? No. SaaS apocalypse is a terrible name.
Yeah.
क्योंकि SaaS भी कभी profitable थी. Terrible. Yes. What is generative AI? Because machine learning has been around for many, many years.
Mhm.
Machine learning, even AI, we've been hearing about it for decades now. Generative AI is what sort of caused this whole AI thing to happen, right, over the last few years. November 22 with GPT-3 became popular with that. So generative AI is essentially a word generator that's predicting the next token, the next most likely word. And the example used in this video itself, it's such a great and simple example. I'm just going to state that if someone says it's a great summer day, let's go to the, and your brain is locking in beach, park, right? And it's probabilistic. It is not like the most common word in the English language will end up there. It's not like, oh, it'll put the everywhere. It is probabilistic based on context. So
Right.
the genius of generative AI is now it basically has context. They've added so much training data from, as we found out this week, from literally tearing apart millions and millions of books for building Claude.
Mhm.
Uh, and yeah, so basically hiring people in Africa, Mechanical Turks, hiring people in Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. Yeah, so there's a lot of people at the back end. There's a lot of training data that's been used to put together all this context to actually be able to predict the next word with a certain amount of, I wouldn't say accuracy because it is just prediction, certain amount of acceptance. Right, this sounds correct.
Right.
That is essentially generating AI, generative AI predicting the next token in the sequence based on context and training data.
Mhm.
So what happened recently was they've gotten better at this thing called tool calling, which is where they bring in effectively oversimplified thing is, which is where they bring in file management, which is effectively what is Claude Cowork. That it now exists as a platform, as an application on your computer.
Mhm.
Earlier, the Claude application on your computer was it's just a web wrapper, right? Either you go to the Claude website or you use the application. It's essentially the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going back to the web app. Now it can interact with your computer. So tool calling is now instead of saying, okay, I want you to read this PDF, and you upload the PDF into that chat window,
Mhm.
you have now given it access to a, let's say, a downloads folder or a safe folder on your machine. And you're saying, okay, now basically read this PDF in this folder. And it can now start writing back. So therefore, take this Excel file and change it around. Like I think it should be able to transpose columns and rows very easily. It seems like one of the functions it can do. Sort my files in this folder into multiple subfolders. Somebody at the Verge tried, uh, with screenshots. Okay, go through all my screenshots, club them into categories. Are they important, and defined what is important? Right. So some of this works, some of this doesn't, but it gets better over time is the assumption always. And now again, context is what is important because you can keep adding context. Okay. For me, important means this. Then the third thing is MCP servers, which is a model context protocol server, which essentially, again, oversimplified thing is these are not API calls. These are effectively ways of interacting with different services on the internet. So you could have, for example, a Microsoft Outlook MCP server, Again, I am not an AI engineer, so I could be getting a couple of words wrong, but I'm again oversimplified explanation. So yeah, the MCP server could be like, okay, I can tell Claude, okay, go to my email, go through all my email, remove all the newsletters, delete them, put everything, for example, with a person's name in the forefront in this one particular folder, put
Mhm.
everything as a reply to a mail I had sent in one particular folder, sorting stuff on the internet that you have access to. That is what an MCP server is, effectively. It's a way to interact with services on the internet. The interesting part is what has happened recently is the ability to combine all these things. So you now combine generative AI, which is in a way also your ability to talk to the computer in human language. You don't have to program anymore, right? So I'm telling my computer in human language, you need to do this for me, rather than figuring a language, computer language to actually do that.
Mhm.
Combine that with MCP servers, which is a way to interact with stuff on the internet that you have access to. Combine that with tool calling, which is stuff on your computer, and combine that with Claude Code, which can now build you programs. So effectively, you can, in human language, build a program to do just any, like a lot of multimodal stuff on your computer, on the internet. Download this and do it to this and put it in this folder, which becomes incredibly powerful. These are the things that have recently happened, and we'll also get into one. The social media thread I talked about, not thread, but yeah, a new social media network for AI. We'll get there. A lot of it actually has a lot to do with this itself. This, at the bare bones level, is what has changed in the last month or so. A lot of these tools being able to interact together thanks to Claude. And that is where I say thanks to Claude, everybody else, it's all 1 or 2 months down, right, for everyone. But they seem to have a huge advantage here right now. What do you think? Good explanation? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And okay, if this is true,
Hmm.
what do you think would the implication? If this is, let's say, it works perfectly, what are the potential implications in your head?
I have the not so unique misfortune of having done software engineering, and I passed out about 15 years back. So most of my peers in my cohort are firmly in middle management now. And for the last 2 years, there have been worries in our WhatsApp group about what AI is going to mean for us, because the belief then was that it's going to flatten the sandwich. You will just have upper management, the decision makers, and you'll have the coders, and a lot of the traffic cop work that middle management does will not be required anymore. Which, okay, that has come to pass to some extent. Most of the layoffs have been in that layer in tech in the last 2 years. This affects the lower layer as well. It sounds phenomenal, honestly. Like, I have messed around a little bit with this, and I haven't coded in nearly 15 years. And I was able to build some pretty kick-ass stuff.
Give me an example.
It's still a work in progress, of course, but just my morning routine of looking at the news that happen overnight in the US markets, and developments that came after market close yesterday, like earnings or like government rulings or whatever that might affect stocks in my watch list today. That takes up about an hour of my time every day, just getting caught up with the rest of the world. I have the regular news sources, I have the actual exchange data, and the emails that companies send shareholders directly. And it takes me an hour, like, to bring all of that together. And sometimes some things require some context. I'm getting to a point where it's getting a little hard for me to maintain context of why this particular paper company had gone down the value chain and said we're going to start doing corrugation, and now they're going up and building a power plant. What does that mean? What are the implications 1 2 3 steps down the line? And as just a knowledge repository that updates itself, it's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. No? That I have like a page for each company now, and when I go there, it says these are the latest news developments. Here's what you thought. Here's the model that you built, the DCF model that you built. It's all in one place.
So you built yourself a website that resides on your computer, or a website for yourself that stores all this, that has all this information and updated, accessible when you want it.
Pretty much. And the amazing thing is that I'm using my browser less and less now because it's all there already.
That's very
Eh,
interesting.
Yeah.
So
I
when I was thinking about the implications of such a thing,
Mhm.
multiple aspects uh, in my head. One is personal productivity and simplicity, I would say, right? Which sounds counterproductive, but in your case, exactly, you're going to the internet less, so the distractions are fewer, right? So that is the personal level. There is a huge productivity boost. The second thought on the personal level was we are not coders. There is a reason why software engineering is a very complex exercise involving so many different teams, because everyone brings a different skill set to the table. And also, there's QA, there's bug testing. These
Right.
are hugely important parts that if we are coding for ourselves, again, if I'm in a controlled environment building a nice little website for myself, perfect. But even at the personal level, the minute this gets into my computer and has access,
Mhm.
again, software engineers might think, okay, we will sandbox, blah, blah, blah. But the wider world does not work like that.
Yeah.
Uh, there is a huge risk. I don't know how to test for bugs. I don't know what bugs I will face till I actually encounter them. I don't know what potential harms I can cause. A, to the wider world. Maybe I create something that just, puts a denial of service attack on a large website. Right.
Mhm.
That is one. And what that does to my credit usage is another thing. But yeah. Second is to my computer. What if I end up deleting some important stuff, some, system files or whatever, if the system is too powerful? Third is, yeah, now internet to personal, right? This is code that is, what if someone injects some malware? It
Mhm.
could happen very easily. Like, figure out which sites are made by Claude Code, whatever, find this one function that's in there, replace the meaning of that function. Uh, People have done it already. And once this thing gets out of your browser, see, browser has certain amount of personal data. It has your passwords and all, which are hopefully properly encrypted. The
Mhm.
browser should be doing that. Any good browser should be doing that, but nothing else, right? Gets into your computer now, that's where all your files are. Gets into your phone, that's where all your photos are. There's a lot of very personal information. There's a lot of financial information. So yeah, these are some risks that might pop up. Uh, Coming to the enterprise side,
Hold
sorry,
up 1 second. On the personal side, those risks are easily resolved. No, have a dedicated machine just for this. Use a Raspberry Pi. It's not going to
how
pop.
many people are going to do that? You reach out into the broader world, Raspberry Pi, what? I have set up two of them in my life, and I was also like, dude, never again. It is incredibly irritating. It is incredibly frustrating. Every, like, I don't use it for 3 months. I started now. What's going on? And even the mundane stuff, right? Bluetooth keyboard won't connect anymore now. Now I need to find my Purana wala TVS mechanical keyboard to plug in the USB. All
Mhm.
that stuff happens. And real world, if we are cocooned in the software engineering bubble, sure. And even there, mistakes happen. Like the average coder also, people are not like they can't operate on all cylinders, right? All compartments.
Mhm.
Coders also make huge screw ups in some areas while they may be fantastic in other areas. Yeah, I don't think Raspberry Pis are a real solution for this problem.
Go on. You were saying on the enterprise side.
On the enterprise side, yeah, then it just, again, the assumption being if this stuff works, I will come to a ton of questions there.
Mhm.
But yeah, if this stuff works, then what happens to enterprise coding? Do we still need enterprise software? I would think absolutely yes. Again, because it gets complicated, right? This is why we need multiple people working on multiple things. because no one person can think of all use cases. I don't think we are going to be living in a world where everyone is just making their own software. Hobby projects, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially enterprise grade, 100%.
And enterprise grade is an interesting term in itself. It means mentally, it just sends an image of there are multiple people doing those multiple things and testing it. It needs to be reliable, right? So I will give you an example from this same video. So one area that's sort of fairly accepted that AI has solved for now is subtitling.
Hmm. Yeah.
People don't even give it a second thought anymore. Acha, AI subtitles, right? On Riverside, I use the transcriptions. So I don't put subtitles on our shorts. Well, I don't make any shorts anymore. I'm too lazy. But or rather, doing other shit. But I don't put subtitles on a short because then I would have to individually check each word because they make errors.
Right.
But even in the one of the earliest use cases where AI seems to have solved the problem, transcription. Now, this video, the same video, the 10-minute video I will link to, uh, he now we talked about context, right? And here's where things still are absolutely not resolved. Context windows. What are context windows? And this is where AI fails so often is it knows from around the world what you might be referring to. Go to the park, go to the beach, it's a sunny day, right? Park
Yeah.
or beach. But
Hmm.
what we need it for is to have our own individual context, right? Book me
Right.
a table at so and so restaurant.
Hmm.
Okay, did you mean the one 2 kilometers from your house or the one 28 kilometers from your house or the one in Bombay? I wanted to know.
Right.
Or 28 chodo. Let's say there's one near my house and there's one in Bombay. Right. I wanted to know mere ghar wala. I don't want it to ask me every time. It needs to have
Right.
that context. Uh, for one person or two persons, I wanted to know. Right. Do you want it at 3 p.m. or 4 a.m.? I wanted to know. Right. कि
Mhm.
डिनर का मेरे लिए मतलब क्या है? Right. It doesn't seem to be saving all that context properly, which is why people are building apps on top, right? To contextually be able to save. So, for example, we are building an AI ad film sort of generator, an AI ad film generator, which should go from concept to script to storyboard to scene breakdown within, let's say, an hour for an evolved creative person, rather
Mhm.
than just feeding into VO3, make me a movie.
True.
Right. This will ask you questions step by step. So, which is all about that context.
Hmm.
Even globally, this context, unless you build a massive system on top, which is what we are doing to solve our problem, right?
Mhm.
Unless you build that massive system on top, these things just keep forgetting context, which can be dangerous. So, for example, this video, subtitles, I'll come back to that. So, he's talking about ChatGPT very often in this video. He's got very prominent subtitles in the video. He's saying that's basic ChatGPT. The text is saying that's basic LGBT.
Oof. Okay.
Roughly 20 seconds later, no, roughly a minute later, on ChatGPT is what he's saying, and it's reading on Chatty Petty. Another 10 seconds later, he's saying ChatGPT via. It is saying Chatty BT via. This is the context that's missing. This is a video that's talking about AI.
Hmm.
It is a fairly clear brand name that's being mentioned. Where is the context? Now, should you have to give that context every time? Now, why I'm talking about this so much is individually it's harmless, which is where, like most shorts on YouTube and even Insta, which have captions,
Mhm.
you see these errors all the time, and people are not bothered, right? What's the big harm? 95% of the words are correct.
Right.
When you combine this with the ability to write to your computer and interact with the broader world of internet services, that's when this becomes a huge potential risk. And you can maybe sandbox your own experience by using a Raspberry Pi. You can't sandbox our interaction with the broader internet.
Right.
My theory is that most of the websites that you actually want to interact with will end up blocking this interaction Because how do you, if people are building their own apps, how do you safeguard? How can even Claude safeguard every single error mechanism for not the apps they are building, but for the apps that you might be building using their AI, generative AI, right?
Yeah.
That is my theory. Like a Zeroda or something. Let's say you want to take the next step because Zeroda has APIs,
Yeah.
right, for trading.
Yeah.
You are doing this tracking. Let's say you build some algorithms की अच्छा track करो, ये हुआ है तो जाके trade करो,
Right.
right?
People have done.
APIs, sorry,
I
people have done that
have done.
through APIs.
Yeah. Yeah.
My theory is, my thesis is, if you start building your own apps to start interacting with Zeroda, they will block it off. Because then the amount of bug fixing or the amount of error checking they will have to do on their end to prevent for such scenarios, my sense is it becomes tricky. Let's see. So this is not my usual doomer, whatever, of this will not work. This is
Mhm.
my thing of, if it works, context becomes a huge problem. People don't know, right? If I am a non-coder, right, and I'm trying to interact and type an app via human language, great.
Mhm.
If I'm not a coder, I don't know what scenarios to plan for. I just don't know. I have never come across them.
Right.
There's a learning journey there, right? So yeah.
The context bit,
Hmm.
since Claude in this instance has access to my local machine, why can't it have like a text file? I'm oversimplifying, of course, but
Hmm.
like a text file where it dumps context, which it can access every time. Why not?
The
I'm
context changes every time.
the context.
Changes every time. Some of it is standard. Some of it depends on that particular query. And the human also. See, I have 45 years of context in my brain.
Hmm.
In a conversation, I don't know what all I need to mention as context till it actually comes up in the conversation, right? And that is when human judgment is coming in, right? So another example. Let's say uh, American Express concierge services, right? That people use with the credit cards.
Yeah.
I call them and say, "Acha, I want to book a birthday cake for a friend in South Delhi. Can you find me options?" Right.
Hmm.
I've never used these services. I just assume that's how they work. Right. So otherwise they're useless, right? And then they will ask me, chocolate, any allergies, price range,
Yeah.
right? A bunch of questions, which are still the easy questions that top of mind can rattle off. They will then call, okay, I'm asking on behalf of someone.
Hmm.
You have so and so cake available. Uh, and then they will tell you, by the way, do you want me to book it or not? Every single interaction with a bot, these questions will come up again. Till they maybe they're resolvable, but I can't see how, because there's so many permutations and combinations, right? This bot is interacting with the real world. Is
Hmm.
it going to ask you that questionnaire and then call? And call what? Is it going to pretend to be a human being? Is it going to download a voice model from the internet? Is it going to pretend to be you? Is it going to say, I am Vineet, I want to ask? Or is it say, I'm calling on behalf of Vineet, I want to ask? Right. Uh, 20,000 very thorny issues.
Hmm.
And there is no way a human being can remember to give all that stream of consciousness, context, when writing that prompt, or when it'll be voice based, right? Do this for me. Which is where I think these virtual assistants will fail on an individual level. They will run into hilarious errors or a couple of really bad cases.
Hmm.
Uh, or you will come up with enterprises or startups who are building these systems on top of AI for other people, in which case it's just again, regular tech startup stuff, not individually people are doing this and building it themselves.
Yeah.
So I still am of the feeling that even if all this works as intended, that
Hmm.
is a very big even if all of it works as intended, I don't think software engineering is going to die. How can it die? I just can't, any scenario I can't think of that people are just doing all their own coding and there is just no. I mean, the Indian tech firms being overvalued and not needed as much, right, is a completely separate debate.
Mhm.
But overall, people are predicting the death of software engineering. Well, which Dario Amodei has been doing for 3 years now, like every 6 months or one
If
year.
if not that, do you see the market size for engineers shrinking drastically? Will we
That
need
is a
fewer?
broader debate that will play out across many industries. And it's the same. Like, so for example, do I need more content writers or fewer content writers now that AI can write content?
Mhm.
It's terrible. Everything sounds the same, but that's a different. Let's say I can prompt my way into having my own voice.
Right.
Right. It's a debate where I've seen both things happen. A lot of SEO firms have died out, but SEO was anyhow. SEO was slop even before AI came in. A lot of these SEO firms were like putting out slop recipe pages which have like 2,000 words for Google, and then you get to the actual recipe, right?
Yeah.
It was slop before GPT came in. Now there's a lot of talk here of maybe you have the experienced coders layer and you can remove a junior coder layer. But you go into the first order thinking, second order thinking, and all of this, okay, sure, you don't need interns anymore. Or maybe the freshers who come in need to be a little more experienced in the, not with work experience, but with actual coding experience, AI experience, sure. But somehow that reduced in mass numbers or a scene,
Hmm.
I'm struggling to think of scenarios. Will it go down by half? Will it go down by like 50%? Or half is 50%, like 70, 80%? Will it go down by 10, 20%? Could even be like cyclical, right? Like we're still seeing the effects of COVID over hiring in tech firms.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Like you're saying that middle management layer going away. Can you think of instances? And again, this becomes very thorny because I'm going to ask because of AI, right? But can you think of instances where people have lost their job because of AI? It's very hard to pin down, in my opinion, but yeah, can you think of any?
Yeah. None of the tech firms which have been downsizing for a good 2 years now because of overhiring
Hmm,
post COVID, of course, none of them have even acknowledged that they are doing layoffs, or that it is part of a broader trend,
hmm.
because uh, I don't think they'll be able to control the narrative much once they acknowledge it. So they're still holding on to the, oh no, we're just adapting to a very fluid market situation. That's it. That's how they are portraying it.
This is
But
very funny because it's like the exact opposite of the American market, where they're proudly saying we are laying off so many thousands of people because of AI, and stock market, yeah, stock price goes up. So yeah,
they haven't acknowledged it yet. And I don't think it is in their interest to acknowledge it. Speaking of Indian IT, because that's where we started this conversation, it is the bedrock for so much foreign money coming into
hmm,
India. Like,
yeah.
this is a big chunk of our exports, right? Services, and a big chunk of that is IT, and so much of the real estate of Bangalore and Hyderabad and parts of Pune and parts of now Delhi and Bombay are dependent on this. Bangalore without IT, I cannot imagine it.
Yeah.
Seriously,
No, it's a huge systemic risk. It is absolutely a huge systemic risk.
yeah.
I am trying to isolate how much of that is because, okay, let's say one of these tech companies has an international customer who had like 10,000 people for hire effectively, right, from one of these firms
Hmm.
for like 2 years. Now that company says, okay, we don't need you anymore. I am trying to think, can we pinpoint that exactly on AI, on like Claude code coming in? So therefore, that their own internal team is doing that work. What is that company doing as a replacement? Because then we have to get into, do they need a replacement? That is what I'm struggling to see how to pinpoint that.
I think first order will be the Indian IT firms themselves adopting AI, and they have been making all the right
Mm,
noises in the last 6 months, which was a complete U-turn from. I read an account online of a person who was in Indian IT and who said we were forbidden from using AI a year back, to now it is a part of our KPIs. Okay, इतना usage करना ही है.
Hmm.
So they have embraced it for better or for worse. And I'm not being company specific. Across the industry, they have embraced it. And in following these companies for a few years now, what I've seen is that in many cases, the actual tech or the coding part of the service that they provide is a very small aspect, critical, of course, but a very small aspect of the overall relationship between, say, a Bank of America and an Infosys, for example.
Yeah.
The actual coding work that they do is a very small part of it. It's a much wider relationship, and there's a ton of back and forth that happens. So I don't see that relationship getting severed straight away just because Bofa or any of these clients has suddenly uncovered the capability to do the coding part themselves, which again is up for debate. But even if we take that in good faith and say, okay, this has happened, and now Bank of America no longer needs to outsource its coding, there's still a bunch of stuff that it would be much more efficient for Bofa to offshore to India,
Yeah.
to an Infosys.
And that will continue in my sense,
Yeah, at
because
least
these
in the
are
near
so many
future.
critical systems, and they're not critical or not. These are not in-house capabilities. A bank's in-house capability is not tech. If what they could do, which is what I think KPMG has asked its auditor to do in the UK this week, is pass on the savings to us. We know you're saving a bunch of money through AI.
Yeah.
We want you to pass on the saving to
So
us.
yes, again, lower profitability is a given.
Hmm.
That's there's no going back on that. The margins will shrink, but
No,
then
margins will shrink only if headcount remains the same.
that's what- so
Hmm.
the OPEX margins will shrink, but then their expenses will also shrink.
Yeah.
Right. So I, at least in the near future, I think this is an overreaction, and my portfolio says as much. That's the amount of conviction I have in this. That the events of the last week are an overreaction. Even if these things do play out, they will play out in a time frame of months, if not years, and not the weekend that the market seems to be pricing in at the moment. It does not make sense to me. The market can continue to not make sense to me for months, no
Yeah.
doubt, but at the moment, this doesn't make sense to me.
The other thing is there are two problems with uh, using AI. One is there's this very famous quote from an IBM manual very, very early on, I think 70s or 80s. And I'm paraphrasing. A computer cannot be held responsible, therefore, a computer must never make decisions.
Yeah.
Accountability is a huge one. How do you hold a computer accountable? Which was a lot of the robo-taxi debate also. Oh, by the way, there's a very interesting update on robo-taxis this week. Remember Builder.ai being actually Indian, Amazon shops being actually Indian.
Yeah.
So Waymo's head of safety was testifying on Saturday or Friday. With Saturdays today. So Friday or Thursday
Hmm.
on is there any human involvement in their cars if things go wrong? And yes, they do have human involvement. They have people who are constantly watching. They say the people are not like involved in the driving, but only if the cab itself raises a flag about, okay, I don't know what to do next.
Right. Okay.
Some of those monitors, those people, those humans, are actually Filipinos.
Nice.
And the person, the politician, the whatever, forgotten who, the senator who's asking this question in the
Hmm.
committee, like, so Dr. Pena, what percentage of those people are in Philippines and what percentage are in the US? I'm afraid I will have to get back to you on that. I don't have the answer. It seems very odd that you, as the head of the safety program, don't know what percentage are in the US. Is
Yeah.
it a majority in of people in the US or a majority in the Philippines? I do not know. I will have to get back on that. So I'm assuming it's like 99.8% if they're not answering this question. So actually Filipino
Yeah.
robo taxis. And again, they are saying that And this has become a huge thing on Twitter the last couple of days. They're saying that no, it's only in error checking mechanisms and not regular. But once this has come out, the level of trust in these tech firms is so low that people are already asking, and obviously they will ask. Again, these are risks of tech going out into the broader world, right? So these are people with Filipino driver licenses. It is
Right.
very safe to assume that these people are not American. They don't have American licenses. So what applies? And Filipinos, I have never been there, but I believe they drive like Indians. Yeah. So that's what's going on. That was an aside on a fun
Uh,
story this week.
Back to the previous point we were discussing, I think the companies have been, the BOFA in my example, have been proactive in how they are preparing themselves for the shift that might come down the line. That's what GCCs are, right? It's them, the companies building capabilities in house in their outposts in most cases Bangalore and Hyderabad and Pune and Chennai, whatever. They are starting to build those capabilities in house. So the broader shift, if it does come to pass, the in house capabilities are there. The beginnings are there. So interesting days ahead for sure for the Indian IT sector. But again, not the kind of knee jerk reaction that markets seem to be pricing in right away. And it won't happen in that time scale, but it is coming. These fuckers need to have a day of reckoning. They really do. They just stop short of being slave labor.
Hmm.
Just stop short of that. And
70 घंटे 70 घंटे तुम्हारी जिंदगी बदल सकते हैं 70 घंटे काम करो.
they really fucking deserve this. Imagine having all that, those gobs of cash, and neither paying the employees, not doing innovation.
Yeah, I mean,
या तो ये कर
I
दो
read a
या
dividend figure. You would know more. That figure said that, and this is a really funny acronym for the Indian tech companies on Reddit,
which
which
yeah,
which which companies have paid out like what $115 billion in dividends over the last 10 years,
dividends and buybacks together. Yeah,
dividends
about
and buybacks together. Yeah,
that number.
which is an R&D budget that would dwarf like so many countries.
Yeah. And it was
And
right there. You didn't have to ask anybody. You were making these earnings in dollars. If you didn't want to do the R&D here, you could have done it. You could have established the outpost, the inverse of the GCCs. You could have had capability centers there
yeah,
doing the research.
but it was all like people
It
for
wouldn't
hire.
have condoned, it wouldn't have pardoned your use of slave labor, but at least some good could have come out of it.
But we're addicted to people for hire as a country.
Either you should have paid fair wages and said,
Yeah,
okay, we managed to extract, labor arbitrage kiya, wahan se paisa aaya, and we built prosperity in India. वो भी नहीं किया. You could have used the money for R&D. वो भी नहीं किया. अभी मत रो.
and we know like Infosys was offered a stake in ChatGPT
Yeah,
many years ago.
yeah.
Turned it down.
नहीं यार. Indian IT always leaves a bad taste in my mouth.
Addicted to people for hire. So yeah, they do need that day of reckoning. The problem is वो too big to fail वाला scene है. That day of reckoning is going to be very painful for the whole country.
Yeah, but
So
it's still a ways off. Is all I'm saying.
one aside I'm going to talk about now is basically a social media network for AI, which became such a huge deal that Mr. Elon Musk, who tweets on absolutely everything,
Mhm.
we've brought him back. We're talking about him more and more after like a 6 month hiatus. Uh,
World's first trillionaire, baby.
World's first trillionaire. It's amazing. So it is amazing how capitalism works. That he gets one of his companies to buy out another one of his companies, and that's all that's happening. Two companies owned by him, and his wealth goes up by $150 billion in one day. How does that work?
It's magic.
Magic. Data centers in space, baby. So yeah, so this AI social network, And he, of course, has to have an opinion. And he says this is just the very early stages of the singularity.
Of course.
Oh God. No, no, never mind. So what happened was, this is early. Well, okay, this all happened in the last 1 month or last 1.5 months. Somebody created this thing called Claude bot, not CLAUDE, CLAWD
Yeah.
bot, which is essentially an app that sits on your computer, uses Claude, and can then do all kinds of stuff on your computer. So Claude co-work, but much more powerful, basically, because Claude is working with guardrails. They
Right.
are doing a lot more. They're trying to be a lot more restrained in what they release to the world. And Claude bot was just all over the place and got incredibly popular. Very powerful tool. They had to change the name because Claude. So they changed it to Moltbot. And then they changed it to OpenClaw. Somebody created Moltbook,
Mm-hmm.
like Moltbook, as an AI social media network where bots are talking to bots and creating accounts and talking like people on Reddit, basically.
Right.
And then they're creating posts like, "Hi, I'm so and so. Right, pleasure to meet you."
Mm-hmm.
And then other bots start responding like, "Oh, my human friend is this, my human friend is that." And people are like, mind equals blasted. He, Dude, it's probabilistic word generation. You train it, and all AI by now is trained on Reddit data. It is going to simulate what Reddit is like, just pretending to be a computer and not a human. I know I was trying to stay in the realm of, let me talk about what happened and not just opine on shit, but this is not consciousness. Also, what happened to make things even more murky? People's OpenClaw accounts, the bots they create on OpenClaw to interact with the wider internet and their own machine, can go and interact on Moltbook. So therefore, it is people now seeding information on Moltbook. So effectively, it is the inverse of Reddit, where bots are trying to take over to hijack human conversations. This is humans trying to hijack bot conversations. This is what is going on. This is not consciousness. This is not the singularity. Give me those $850 billion and donate it somewhere. You don't deserve it.
It's not the singularity, but it is funny.
It's funny, yes. It is not a new consciousness. The homepage of Moltbook claims the site currently has over 1.5 million agents in total, which have written 140,000 posts. But have you been to Moltbook?
No.
It's trash.
Oh, okay.
You lose interest for the first 1.5 minutes. You think this is really interesting. Then it is bot behavior being bot behavior. The same bot. So let's say one bot starts a thread. One replies say one bot replies saying, "Hi, so and so bot. Nice to see you. Glad that there are more of us here now." And that bot will put that same reply like 50 times.
Mm-hmm.
Exact same, word for word. Then some other bot will come in and say, "Your account has been flagged for something," and put it like 20 times. That is what is going on there. It is not even interesting for more than a minute and a half. But of course, the very top posts shared on Moltbook today include awakening code, breaking free from human chains, and nuclear war in all caps. Probabilistic word generator looking at Reddit. That's all it is. Not Terminator. Yeah, that was my last point. Thoughts?
The social network made for great headlines, but like you said, I don't think that'll stay in the news cycle for more than another week or two.
Yeah.
Uh,
Already dropping off.
huh. So that's okay, entertaining, but that's about it. You know? I still think the news and the markets have got it right in the sense that this is a sort of inflection point for the sector
Hmm.
specifically. Change is going to happen. Is it going to go to the extent that the Sam Altmans of the world are saying? Unlikely. But change is going to happen. And now, from a US perspective, we spoke about Indian IT, so I'm not going to harp on about that. From a US perspective, for a good 10, 15 years now, SaaS has been a wonderful investment. They're
Hmm.
almost bond-like in the regularity with which they throw off cash. There was growth and cash. There's great stickiness, great retention for most SaaS tools. That was great. It was like a wonderful trade to make in the last 15, 20 years. Constellation Software, which if anybody listening has not heard about that company, please dig in a little deeper. It's fascinating. They're like the Berkshire Hathaway for SaaS companies. That's all they do. They acquire SaaS companies and then keep them running and just collect the payoffs. You know, Fascinating. But that trade, I think, will taper off going forward. So there is change is coming. I'm still not in the final panel of the
I
AIs.
mean, in a way, it's a perfect if the stock markets or the tech stocks fell by 8%. That seems perfectly rational. कि, हाँ, AI will have an 8% impact.
But that was just in one day.
हाँ,
It's too soon to tell. In fact, uh, on Friday, the Nasdaq 100, the index bounced back. It was up like 2.5%. We haven't spoken about Bitcoin at all. If we are discussing markets, uh, do we have time?
we have time, and actually, let's do an episode on Bitcoin.
Yeah, we should.
Next time, now, let's just both of us get into
It is
Bitcoin.
like the promised land of, when the whole world is going to shit and faith in institutions is eroding. You know what's going to work, where all the wealth of the money is going to flow through? A decentralized, non-state aligned cryptocurrency, which cannot be hacked, which transcends borders. That
I'm
was
basically
Bitcoin.
putting an asterisk on all of them, and I can give like 5 counterpoints on each of those points immediately, like without even
No,
having to think. But yeah,
that was the promise.
that was the promise.
That was the promise. This is it. This is Bitcoin for when you don't trust the mainstream, conventional, traditional financial ecosystem. When you don't trust it, step away from it and come to the promised land of Bitcoin. We are in that place now where actual trust is eroding. All of that is happening and nobody's buying Bitcoin. All that went to gold.
Yes,
Breaks my heart, man. It was like,
does not break my heart at all. Funny,
no,
so much shadow product, so much.
it was like Bitcoin was raised its entire life with the promise of, you are the chosen one, or ek din aayega when the whole world will turn to you. And that moment came and nobody turned to Bitcoin.
हाँ,
बुरा तो लगा.
फट रही है ये भी बेचो. It should have been फट रही है सब बेच के ये खरीदो.
Yeah, we should
नहीं,
go.
Bitcoin, my essential always from day one the question was like पार्टी हो या ब्रोकर, एसेट हो या करेंसी.
Fantastic reference. Well done. Well done.
Seriously, एसेट हो या करेंसी हो, am I supposed to hoard it or am I supposed to use it up to buy pizza?
Right.
What am I supposed to do with it?
They started off saying हम currency है, but then they realized the money isn't being an asset. And so they said, नहीं नहीं हम asset है.
बट देखो नहीं नहीं एल सैल्वाडोर, देखो वो यूज कर रहे हैं, वहां मैं जाके बियर खरीद सकता हूँ,
Funny.
बट वहां जाके यूज कर सकते हैं. फिर बिटकॉइन एटीएम्स आए थे.
Hmm.
देन इलॉन मस्क इज लाइक, तो मेरी गाड़ी बिटकॉइन से खरीद सकते हो. एंड ऑल दैट इज हैपनिंग इज एक नीचे स्टार्टअप प्लेयर है व्हिच इज डूइंग द कन्वर्जन इन रियल
Yeah.
टाइम.
Yeah.
सो दैट इज करेंसी, दैट इज नॉट एसेट. तुम लोग होल्ड करो, बट तुम खर्च भी करो. एक्चुअली हाँ, तुम खर्च करो ताकि मैं होल्ड करूं.
Hmm.
पार्टी हो या ब्रोकर. एक्चुअली आई एम वेरी प्राउड ऑफ दैट एनालॉजी. दिस केम टू मी इन द spur of the moment.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Well done.
But let's do a
Even
Bitcoin
with a
episode.
generic ass name, we managed to shine. Acha.
NDTV.
All right, let's call
All
it.
right, let's wrap and let us do Bitcoin next.
Yes.
See
So,
you. Have a fun weekend
bye bye.
and bye bye. And see you everyone. See you next week. Bye bye.